On Saturday morning, October 27th, as the Jewish community joined to pray and celebrate Shabbat, 11 people were murdered when a gunman opened fire inside their Tree of Life synagogue in Pittsburgh. It was, by most accounts, the deadliest attack on Jews in American history. The reality of evil, it has often been argued, constitutes the greatest stumbling block to a faith in an all-powerful and loving God. So how much larger does the stumbling block become when that evil manifests itself on the faithful while they're worshiping their God? Joining us now to explore that question and to talk about how the New York Jewish community is responding to this tragedy, among other things, is Rabbi Mark Wilds, the founder and director of the Manhattan Jewish Experience. Rabbi Wilds, thanks so much for joining us again.
It's an honor to be here. Thank you.
So, Rabbi, would you agree that the evil that abounds is the greatest stumbling block to a faith in an all-powerful and loving God, especially, as I said, when that evil is visited upon people who are worshiping their God?
Yeah, so this is an age-old problem in question that has been plaguing humankind since the beginning of humankind. And it gets bigger and poses even greater theological and philosophical problems emotionally when something like this happens. And I just want to start by saying that there's, just on the human level, I've been to Squirrel Hill, I've been to Pittsburgh, I have friends, and the Jewish community is a very, very small one. And we are in mourning now. This is a really rough time for our people. This is the worst catastrophe that's ever happened to Jews in the United States. And so on the human level, even before we get into philosophy and we try to answer these age-old questions, we just need to sort of be one with our brothers and sisters, and certainly with the souls of those 11 individuals who were cut down as they were praying on the Sabbath. So I just wanted to start with that. Philosophically, obviously, this is a great issue. We don't have simple answers. This is way above my pay grade. I'd have to be more than a rabbi to answer that question. I'd have to be more like a prophet and really get into the Almighty's mind. Why would a benevolent, good, and giving God allow a disaster and a tragedy like this to happen? This is a question that we believe, according to Jewish tradition, Moses himself asked the Almighty and also did not get an answer. There's a very famous verse in the Bible that God's mind is not our mind. We don't pretend to know everything. But there's one thing that we can try to answer. And one of my teachers, one of the greatest thinkers of the 20th century, Rabbi Joseph B. Soloveitchik, he said that when tragedy strikes and when bad things happen to good people, and people are cut down in the middle of prayers on the Holy Sabbath, to ask the question why is an exercise in futility, because it's not a question that we are prepared philosophically to be able to answer, but to ask what? What can we do? How should we, as human beings who care about what is right in this world, what should we be doing in reaction? The why, I'm going to be honest with you, I don't know.
Well, you know, I want to get to the what in a moment, but I want to linger on the why a little bit longer, because the answers that I've been hearing, not just from rabbis, but from priests and from pastors, is that, you know, we can't presume to know the mind of God, kind of like what you said. But the question that I know a lot of viewers are having, I have, is if we can't presume the mind of God about that, why do we presume to know that he is an all-powerful and loving God? You see what I mean?
Because I think it's a focus on the negative. This all-powerful and loving God willed us into existence. And we're here. And I got to wake up this morning and have a cup of coffee and spend time with my wife and my kids. And I'm having this wonderful conversation with you. And terrible things happen, but the world is filled with such beauty and love. And we need to look at the totality of human existence. If we only focus on the negative, then of course, how could you believe in a benevolent God if the only thing you experience is death and destruction? But that's not life. Life is love, and life is beauty, and also involving suffering and pain. But because there's some suffering and pain, and not to, God forbid, minimize it, that doesn't take away from the beauty and the love.
So let's get to the what. What do we do to respond in a loving way to this tragedy?
The way that we respond, I was actually very proud. It happened to be that our blood drive at MGE, which we do every year, was taking place literally the next day. And I sent out an email that we're collecting blood anyway. come out and donate blood to New York's blood bank, which always needs blood, and every pint can save 3 human lives, do it in memory of those whose lives were taken, and respond to hate with love. That's the way you grow from a terrible situation, which is not to stoop to the level of the racists and the anti-Semites, but to react just the opposite. And we are going to show the greatest love to memorialize the souls of those 11 individuals.
I thought it was extremely moving. A very loving act was the Muslim community in Pittsburgh collected tens of thousands of dollars for the survivors of the family. That was truly moving, I thought.
Yeah, I'm glad you raised that, because this is an opportunity for people to come together.
Yeah.
It could be an opportunity for greater divisiveness, as we've seen, but it's an opportunity for different faiths and religions and ethnicities and peoples to come together over something so basic as the right to human life and to practice our religion in this country. And that's another what? That's another way we can react positively and take something awful and make something wonderful, or at least better, and grow from it somehow.
So, you know, the man who did the shooting was screaming, "All Jews must die," and we know that over the last few years, anti-Semitism has been on the rise in the United States. I don't want to get into too long because we only have a couple of minutes of why, wherefore, but first of all, how do we respond to that in general? And how are you responding to that in order to protect your own congregation?
So first of all, I think this is very important. I think the Jewish community in America lives in a little of a la-la land. I'm a student of Jewish history, and you can't be a student of Jewish history without knowing that anti-Semitism always exists. It's a constant. It only
It's the fallback. It's the fallback hate of everybody.
Yeah, and we've been very blessed as Jews in this amazing country with our liberties, and I think a little fooled into believing, not by anyone, consciously or intentionally, but just by virtue of the fact that we've enjoyed such a wonderful and peaceful existence here, generally, to imagine almost that this age-old hatred is somehow gone. It is not gone. It is always there. It will always, unfortunately, continue to be. That doesn't mean we don't have to protect ourselves and work against it, but it is there, and we need to be cognizant of that. We are taking measures to beef up our security. We have volunteer security. We have paid security. We will do everything we have to do to defend ourselves and to protect ourselves. But the most important thing is that we are not afraid and we are not deterred, and we do not give in to the terrorists and those that would have us become fearful of stepping back into a synagogue.
All right, Rabbi Wiles, thank you so much for joining us today. It's always terrific to talk to you. Thank you
Really
so
a pleasure. Pleasure. Thank you.